What's going on, you guys? These are not so obvious problems, but we're trying to use algebra to find unknown values. So what they're going to do is use a combination of ideas. One is the geometry, and by that what I mean is you're expected to know which lines are parallel, and then which lines are transversals, and then how the angles that are given relate to each other. So before I look at any of this stuff over here, I'm just going to look at the picture, and I can conclude that 1 and 2 are congruent because they are corresponding angles. I can conclude that 2 and 3 are corresponding angles, so they are congruent. And then I can conclude that 3 and 4 are supplementary because they are consecutive interior angles. So if you go back to the problem, the measure of angle 1, so here's the measure of angle 1, okay, I'm just going to write that in there, is 3x plus 15. So instead of angle 1, I'm going to use the expression that they give me, 3x plus 15. And then the measure of angle 2 is 4x minus 5. So I have 4x minus 5. Keeping in mind that 1 and 2 geometrically, like visually, based on the picture and what's given, those are equal angles. So I can write an equation right now and set those two things equal to each other, and it would be a true statement. And then finally it says angle 3, the measure of angle 3 is 5y. Okay, now that's a different variable. So when I have the variables the same, I can build my equation based on that relationship and solve for x, because I know that represents one angle and I know it's equal to angle 2, which is 4x minus 5, and now I can just solve. All right, so if I try to solve, the same rules apply. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 3x, subtract 3x. That's going to give me 15 on the left, x minus 5 on the right. So I'll add 5, draw my line, bring the x down, x is equal to 20. So by x equaling 20, that means if I put 20 in rather, for that x, well, now I know that 4 times 20 minus 5 is the value of this angle. So 4 times 20 is 80 minus 5. That's 75 degrees for angle 2. So now, like I figured out that this is 75 degrees. And I can kind of check that with this one right here. So if I know those two angles are equal, then that means 3 times 20 plus 15 would need to equal the same as angle 2, which is 75, and it does. So the geometry lines up, meaning the angle, the properties of the shape match the algebra, which is the expressions in there. So to find y, I know 5y is equal to angle 2, or is equal to 75 degrees. So divide both sides by 5, Remember short division. 5 goes into 7 one time. Remainder, what's the remainder there? It'd be 2. So 5 goes into that second little number, short division, 5 times. So y is 15. And then you could check 5 times 15 is 75. And then all of the congruent angles match. We found the task, which was to find the value of x and the value of y. But I went a little bit further and explained how that works. Okay. And then down here, the final part is using these auxiliary lines. So remember, auxiliary means it's not there, but you can extend lines, okay, this way and this way. And then you can kind of make your own conclusions, right? So what you know about, if I draw a little miniature version of this situation, if I extend this line on the bottom too, so you can kind of see, right? These two lines right here are parallel. So that means this and this, these two angles, are on the interior and they're on the same side. So that makes them these two angles right here in the little diagram. So those are consecutive interior angles. And remember from the video before, consecutive interior angles, those two added up are supplementary. They add to 180. So to kind of set up your problem, you want to establish the relationship between the two angles. Most people, the error they're going to make is to set them equal to each other. Remember, if they're consecutive interior, it means when you add them up, they're going to add to 180 degrees. So the top angle plus the bottom angle is 180 degrees. Combine your like terms, right? You get 25x plus 30 equals 180. Subtract 30 from both sides. 25x equals 150. So x, 150 divided by 25. How many quarters are there in a $1.50? That'd be 6. So x is equal to 6. Find the value of the variables in each figure. Okay? So if that x is 6 based on consecutive interior, you could look at y, like extend these lines this way, the auxiliary lines. Remember, they're dotted lines. Okay? This is 90 degrees. This is 90 degrees because now this angle and this angle are in the same scenario. They're consecutive interior angles. So I can say 3y plus 18 is equal to, plus, okay, I got a little ahead of myself, plus 90 is equal to 180 because those two angles are consecutive interior just like these other ones. Then I'm going to add these two, so I have 3y plus 108 equals 180. Okay. Then I'm going to subtract 108 from both sides. So minus 108 there, and minus 108 right there. 180 minus 108. That gives me 72 degrees. 3y is equal to 72. Y goes into, so 3 goes into 7 2 times with the remainder 1. And then put the 1 right there. 3 goes into 12, 4, so y is 24. So x is 6, y is 24 for that example.